I am here. This is X35 Earthwalker, the one true Earthwalker, the legendary eternal soldier himself, and welcome back to another awesome podcast episode, but I'm going to turn this into a video, so it's going to be in the podcast style, as I've done before. Hello everyone, I hope you have an awesome day. Time for us to get right into it. I'm going to be talking about Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and this should be like my final, serious, talk video on the game. I've finally beaten it. And I believe I got 71 hours in the game. 71 hours. Well spent. Well done. Easily got my money's worth. And I like those videos where people just waste time and leave things at the end. I'm going to tell you right out the gates. It's an amazing game. I had an amazing time. Truly a magical adventure. Yeah, and I'm never going to forget it. I really enjoyed the game. Now, right off the bat, as I've seen in my previous videos, trolls and idiots are just gonna say things like, oh, yep, he doesn't know what good games are, because one guy was like, hey, you would drink piss and you love it too. What a moron. Okay, for those of you who want to say that I don't know what good games are, just look over my channel and you'll see the smallest fraction of the many games that I've played. I played many great games and banger games, you know, from Doom Eternal and Elden Ring to XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, Starfield, and everything else. Loads of amazing games. So yes, I do know what good games are. And just because I have the right to defend myself, a few little credentials I just like to throw out of there. Now this doesn't mean I'm automatically right, but it does add a lot of weight to what I'm saying. Yes, gaming, well over 20 years. Played a lot of variety of games, come from a gaming family. My mom plays games online and everything. Built my own game website, reviewed many games, talked about a blog post about new games coming out and stuff like that. I've even been approached by a game publisher before to play a game and review it. And I'm also a game developer myself. No, I'm not Halo Studios. I didn't build a massive open world game, but I'm also a game developer. Alright, so yes, I think I know what good games are, especially doing it all this time. And for people who say I don't know what good writing is, whatever, I'm also a writer. I've done scripts, stories, entire fantasy fictions, all kinds of things. I even did a whole episode that's been inspired by, you know, the Fighting Fantasy series books done by Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. I even read a whole book story like that, and, you know, had people actually take on the episode that I made, and one of them liked it so much they want a rematch. So yes, I do writing, the reading, I'm a game developer, and I know good games, so those trolls can shut up. But let's get right into this. I have to say, I beat the game and it was awesome. It was awesome. I really enjoyed Dragon Age the Veilguard, and I hope to just hear you guys' thoughts on the things I'm going to be saying and stuff like that, because it's going to be split into three kind of sections. My adventure in it, what I liked about it, what was awesome and stuff like that. Part 2, I'm going to be commenting and countering certain things that's been said about it, with explaining why. And third will be my own actual critical feedback, what I think they actually did just straight up wrong. I'm not gonna offer no defense to that whatsoever. So it's kind of I split into those 3 sections, but I try not to make these things long, but they always tend to be long. If you know my style, you know I can easily talk about these things for a long time. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So straight from the jump, the story hooked me, because remember, I'm coming from the perspective of someone who's new to Dragon Age. I don't know Dragon Age. As I explained, if you check out my previous videos on on Dragon Age the Veilguard, including a video where I give actual examples of very good dialogue and writing within the game, and so you can see more where I'm coming from with my journey. Because the first video, I think I did that when I was nearly 5 hours in, because I was going on for that 5-hour trial, but we were doing an Xbox of the year and stuff like that. Second video, I was 15 hours in. Then it was the videos of examples of great dialogue and writing in the game, and now this is the 4th major video on it. There's some gameplay as well, so if you want to see that when I'm fighting dragons and stuff like that, so you can check that out. So I was hooked. So I see this bald guy looking like Lord Voldemort's less famous, less successful cousin. He's there with a knife and all this stuff, and it's a literal magical show going on. Visuals in this game is the best it's ever been in Dragon Age. It is amazing, and being 2024 and stuff, there's a certain standard to uphold. I was looking at this world, and clearly I knew it was going to be a magical world. I knew it was going to be big, and then you got Varric, and his girl Bianca. I believe that's that mechanized crossbow. And what was happening on is they called him Chuckles, which Low key, I did know one person who was called Chuckles, low key, at the office because he was easy to make laugh. Like, you know what? That's a good thing. Leave those people alone. Let them be happy. They'll live longer for all the laughing that they do, right? And boy, it's got Chuckles, and they had this such going on. We got to stop the ritual, and I was like, man, it's demons running around. They ran in, scooped those people off the walk, and just ran off. I was like, this is looking like a real hectic. This isn't Diablo 4. What's going on? From the start, I was actually interested in what's going on because they start off with a bang, with a flare, demons, fire, destruction, announcements, stay indoors, danger, soldiers are fighting, and that magical show happening at that ritual site was actually kind of crazy. And then find out about Solus, what he did, what happened to Varric, got up out of there. They were at the lighthouse, and then the adventure just began. And I knew from the start, I like it when you get to make decisions and choices like that. I knew there was going to be some like forms of consequences for those, because choose between Nev and Harding, and what happened. Then Nev got injured because of that attempt. Like, they could see it on her face. By the way, this game is not that new. I mean, I'm definitely going to be bringing up spoilers and talk about kind of these things. So, I guess you're warned about the spoiler things going on. And then the whole thing, and then Solus getting trapped in there, which I thought, that's actually pretty funny. That's pretty clever. Remember, I don't know Solus like that, but I did do research because for the previous video, so I learned about Inquisition and stuff like that. He was one of the characters. You can control him, Varric, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but let's just go into there. And it just became an adventure of like magic, traveling to places. Then a bit over time, more places became available. And I think Asan just might be the star of the game, besides Rook, my character, because I made a very awesome character. She's beautiful, but I think Asan just might be the star. I really end up liking Asan. Whenever I see Asan, it's time to pet Asan. There's a lot of petting. You can pet Asan. You can pet like animals, like cats and stuff like that. Like, because people always like, but can I pet the dog? Can I pet the dog? Yes, you can pet these animals. Have fun. You can also drop money into people's pots, like the hobos and people who are like homeless and stuff like that. I did drop some money, and if you actually give the money, it actually deducts from your actual money in the game. So it's not just some infinite source you just happen to drop it in some lint. No, you drop 10,000 times in there, you will lose 10,000 from your pockets. So a little bit too a realistic game, but we go with that. Then of course we encountered Manfred. I liked Manfred as well. It was cool. I still preferred Asan. I still prefer like Asan for sure. And but there were funny moments with them. Like the first time Asan said worms, and Davrin did not understand it, but our character did. It was like an inside joke between Rook and Asan, and Davrin was left out of the loop. That first moment, not gonna lie, that got me laughing. Not big, but it got me laughing. You could call me Chuckles at that point. And then you just see that development. I felt like a squad. It wasn't like the same level of like bondship as like the bro simulator that is like Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15, I don't think any other game did it as good as they did. Like, dear gosh, that game makes you want to go on the regalia with the lads and go on an adventure, right? This game obviously is not designed the same way. It was different, but there was like growth and development between the team as well. Like, as you keep going back over time, you see how the characters engage each other. You see that little like sisterhood going on with Nev and Bellara. They see how the bros were bonding, Lucanis and Davrin, how they got together kind of how lads do get together in real life. They were there talking, laughing, trading stories over some drinks, and the alcohol was getting to them, and it was like, yo, that's actually so relatable. Guys can be so mad at each other, bang each other, ready for blows or whatever. But then just literally over some Heineken and Guineas and just like watching, I don't know, playing a game, sports, whatever. They're good friends again, hugging it up. It was realistic. I'm not gonna lie, I did like that. I thought that was like pretty cool. There was development of the team and how there was like how they were with each other. You just have to go by them when you see them at the lighthouse, and then they'll start talking and giving advice to each other. But boys, sometimes these characters got out of hand. The number one, all right, you out of line, was actually with Tosh. Is that moment, and I saved the game before this moment as well, so I could go back to this. If you want me to like turn that scene into a video, I can do that. I have the save for that. But basically, it got to the point where Emmerich had enough of Tosh, and he, when someone just they get it off their chest, they said it as it is. And he was like arguing. It's like because Tosh doesn't like the necromancy magic. It's weird to her and where she's from and stuff like that. Called him the creepy man and this kind of stuff. And he was like, and for last time, my name is Emmerich. Emmerich, not Skull Boy, not Deaf Man, not there's all the other things that you call me that I will not repeat. And I was like, my goodness, this English man really upset. That's how the English be like, upset. And then you engage with them and you kind of like reconcile it for them to see their differences and they calm down. And then Tosh says, yes, I should not have called you a Skull F. And I was like, what? And she changed it. I was like, Skull. She said something else. What she meant was Skull Effer. You know the F word? Like not the one that rhymes with maggot. The straight up, the one that rhymes with buck. Right? She called him a Skull Effer. I paused the game and I burst out laughing. I said, no way. I have never heard Skull Effer in all my gaming life. Skull Effer? I paused the game. I said, Tosh, I'm telling your mama. I'm telling your mama. Oh my gosh. Yes, call me a snitch. I am getting your mama on you. A Skull Effer? The most professional, gentlemanly Professor Birch. I felt so bad for him. I'm not gonna lie. If I was a necromancer, you call me a Skull Effer. It's up. It's up. Especially how my Emmerich became a Lich Lord. Tosh, he can kill everybody here. Oh no, it's moment because she's like her character, teenager, bratty, powerful, but bratty. So it's kind of like how young people don't give a frick. They'll just call you whatever sometimes and get away with it, like on the bus and stuff like that. Somebody needs to get the belt. Tosh was out of line. I said, Tosh, you do it again, you're getting benched from the team. I swear to gosh. And why is everyone picking on Emmerich? Because he's a necromancer? That's what got me annoyed with one character. If I had a list of characters, there's one character who eventually fell behind and became my least favorite of the group. Like, easily my least favorite. Could you guess who that character is? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The one who ended up at the bottom of my list, the least favorite, like they fell down there over time, was Nev. Yes, I know it's weird because Nev is like the darling of like BioWare. She's clearly their favorite. Like you look at the entrance, like intro to the game, and show to go lead into the BioWare name title, and show the characters on the side. Nev's at the end, and it focuses on her at the end. So she's clearly like maybe the character they're most proud of, or their darling, or their favorite, or something like that. Nev became my least favorite, and what really put her down there for me was how she was bullying my boy Emmerich. Leave Emmerich alone. Oh, she got on my nerves. I literally said, Nev, you say one more thing about like dissing Emmerich like that, you're off the team. You're being benched. I'm getting Lucanus in here. Let's talk about, how long does it take for someone to become a tyrant with powers? And Ember's like, is there any way I can get you to like put in your mind the ease of me and my Lich Lord state and that kind of stuff? And she's like, no, but you can try. I said, all right, Nev, you're off the team. I went to the next team selected phase. I booted her off. I said, get out of here. Now when Emmerich is with me, no Nev. So Nev became my least favorite. But I did like all the characters still. Like I still like Nev, but if I had to see put someone at the bottom, it's easily Nev. That kind of thing. But yeah, the environments, I loved it. And the gameplay, you've probably seen on the video right now, is just when I went in there and I was just like walking around combat and stuff like that. So you get to see, I love the visuals. I already tackled the whole art style thing in the second video, I believe. Summarize, it's not a big deal. Like, let's be real. The game looks better than ever before. Dragon Age never looked so good. May not be the art style you're familiar with, but be real. Is it that big of a deal? Is it that big of a deal? Y'all acting like they changed the art style to look like Slay the Princess, the pristine cut. It doesn't look like that. That will be a reason to raise an alarm. The game looks better. You see Solus, you knew it was Solus. You didn't look at Solus and thought, Lord Voldemort. Like, come on. Nobody here is thinking of Harry Potter. Can we just chill? It's not that big of a deal. Gamers be so picky, miserable, whiny. Every little thing upsets you. 10 years ago, we wouldn't even care about like a little change like this. Let's be real. But the game just looks wonderful, especially places like Arlington Forest. And hopefully you'll see that in the gameplay video you'll see, but my voice is over right now, where you looked at that building at a distance past that bridge, which you can access. At some point you actually do get to go over there. And it just looks like a marvel, like a wonder, like the original definition of the word marvel, not Marvel Comics, is used in the Bible. Like they marveled at this, that kind of thing. And it was beautiful. I'm just looking at these places and the giant like corpse statues. Look at skeletons in the the necropolis. I say necropolis, but they say necropolis. you know, and these places just they looked amazing. They looked to me. I like the vision. This was telling me this is a big world. I know we're in Northern Fetus, whatever they call it, and stuff like that. I was liking what I'm seeing. I said, this, I don't care what anyone says. Dragon Age the Veilguard actually got me to care about Dragon Age. Before, Dragon Age was always there in the Game Pass and all that stuff. I never cared about those games. No, thank you. They seem boring to me, right? Dragon Age the Veilguard now got me interested in Dragon Age. I'm actually going to, like, it got me caring about the lore and everything, but we'll get to that soon. But it is beautiful. I was multiple times just running through the game and just stopping and sightseeing, you know? Just sightseeing, just seeing what's there. Kind of like how I was like looking at the solar system and the stars in Starfield. I was just looking, observing, and then this freaking Darkspawn wants to come and jump me and my crew. I kill that Darkspawn, and when it's dead, I go back to looking like, but yeah, look at that. Like, that's actually really nice. I remember all this was done by people, man. Someone did concept art, someone sat down and drew this. A lot of work went into this game, and there's no denying that. A lot of work, heart, and thoughtfulness went into this game. And I understand hard work, being a game developer myself, but I understand this stuff, and more people need to be more appreciative of these things, and like less like negative and less angry. Like, it's pathetic what's happening with the gaming industry. It really is. I got a podcast episode talk about the problem with modern gaming and the games and stuff like that. Gamers are ruining a lot of things. But yeah, I just loved it. I just loved the environment. Next was the lore. I want to try and move on, but don't take too long. The lore was also very interesting. If you know me, you see me in my live streams, you know I'm going to be reading this stuff. You know I'm paying attention to the lore. Yes, you could just play Elden Ring and just swing at dragons and ogres and just like go about your day and say, hey, I beat Melania, right? Me, I'm the guy who's taking the details. I'm reading the lore under each of the weapons. I'm piecing things together, kind of detective sounding. I was like that kind of thing. When I was playing Redfall, how detailed this open world is, I was reading all the papers. I was piecing together stories of what was happening in these different parts of towns in Redfall, Massachusetts, and stuff like that. You know, I'm reading that stuff, and that for me, I'm a lore guy. I care about lore, and I will read and find out what's going in. Like, they didn't need to put all this work in there. They didn't. Have you looked at the codex in Dragon Age the Veilguard? Just so much information, so much reading. I like when you can see that the style of how some of these codex pieces are written is in the style of how the character's character is. If that's a good sentence. The character's character. Like the way Balara be talking and how she writing, you just tell. Like if I was to erase the names, right? I could tell very accurately who wrote this letter if it's from the main cast of companions. Harding's writing style is different from Balara's, which is different from Ned, which is different from Emmerich, which is different from Davra, which is different from Tosh. It's just different, right? And that's the way I am. Like if you look at my gaming blog posts, I'm writing about new games and the latest games coming out and reviews and stuff like that. I'm sometimes the same way. Like you will see the way how I talk is how I write sometimes, and it shows up in the writing. That again, that's character. It's not some stone AI writing. This is somebody sat down here and just put that in there. For real, they just put that in there. And like I said, I enjoyed learning about the Ontom, you know, the Venatori. Because remember, I'm coming in fresh. I don't know enough about no dang Ontom. I don't know about the Qun and the Kunari and their ways. I don't know about, you know, the different classes to the Ontom, which is kind of a bit of like a bit of very dishonest. Some people did online talk about they completely changed the design of the Kunari and stuff like that because of like how Tosh and others look. But it's not that. It's supposed to be like 3 classes to the Kunari. There's like the builders, the makers, the candlestick shakers, whatever. They're like the builders. They're like the crafts, textiles, that kind of stuff. Then there's the class that's like the priests and the healers. And they look different in themselves. And then you got the main big body looking like almost like brutes, Jar Hanai from Halo. You know, the Ontom who are like the military, they hate magic, stuff like that. They got like Gatlock and they fire cannons and they're like physical, you know, Ontom. And they look like the big lizard monster brutish guys that people remember from previous Dragon Age games. So when you saw Tasha said, oh, they changed the design of the Kunari, that's not actually accurate. Like I said, full on Dragon Age fans who know these kind of things better than me when it comes to the lore of the game and stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't like the Ontom are like how the lizard big scaly dudes are supposed to look from previous games, but then Tasha's design and stuff comes from the other 2 like classes of the Kunari because they're under the Qun, whereas the priest one and the textile one. So please, I want to learn these things. Let me know if I've misunderstood that. Because if that's the case, then no, they haven't got rid of the design of the kunai. It's just the arm arm's a different type. But whatever. But whatever. And I was just learning about this. I was learning about, Antiva and the clothes. I was learning about, Televiso. I was learning about Minrafas and why it's important the Towns, throne of the king and this kind of stuff. And the necropolis, Arleth Forest. I was learning about these things. And my mom knew this is all. And I literally spent time just sitting here and just reading and learning. Reading and learning about the Evernoris and all that kind of stuff. That was interesting to me. It's deep stuff. How you can look at all this stuff and say, yeah, it's a bad game. It doesn't make any blooming sense. This is a lot of great stuff. You can't say they didn't explain things. And they have to do more explaining. Because remember, some people are new. They just need to be told straight up. This is the Venatori and this is what they do. This is the Antom. This is what they do. Because if you don't know anything about Dragon Age, it's a big deal for you. But if you already know it, it's like, well, duh, I know about this, and that. Well, yeah, then it's not for you, in that regards. That detailed information is for us. And there's so much more in there that even people who fan the series would know. Being into lore. And then when it got to gosh. I want to go a bit into the writing now. The writing. I think is good writing. I enjoyed the writing, and I think it worked really well with me. Remember, I am a writer, so don't bring no bull crap, insult to me, talk about I don't know what good writing is. Sucker, what have you read? Huh? The most reading some of these people do is manga panels in the back of a cereal box. I actually be reading books. Get out of here. Don't play with me, right? I enjoyed it. Again, the characters' behavior and see it in the letters is so different. I made a video, put up there showing different cutscenes where they were talking and how they were speaking with each other, and I just found that hilarious when Balara was talking with Syrian and he's talking about you trusted this heart because you trusted my heart. Why won't you trust my heart now? And they was holding hands, and it was the conflict that Syrian was having. Even the people's behavior came out when Empress was looking at these books. It's what is romance doing under geography? Stuff like that. And then dialogue is what you expect from just companions having quips and just, talking, with each other. That's all it is. And I recorded this, so I might turn this into a little YouTube shorts or whatever. That dialogue between Lucanus and Davrin when Davrin said, "Oh, first Talon," and Lucanus is "Excuse me, what?" He says, "You first Talon. Are you used to that title yet?" And it's I don't know. And he goes, if you join the Wardens, you'll be the first Warden, first Talon. And Lucanus is or I could become the first Talon, first Warden. Is it or am I the first Warden, first Talon, the first to be the Warden, or am I the first Talon to be a warden of the first Warden? And they was just going back and forth for this tongue twister. And I was okay, I have to record this. That actually made me laugh. I say, what are you guys talking about back here? And the dialogue changes depending which two combinations you have with you at the time. I put in that video, but it got corrupted when Tosh was upset with Davin. It's Tosh. Tosh was Davin, we need to talk about the whole soulless memory thing. It's why? Why didn't you tell me you was a spirit? He goes, "Cause I'm not a spirit." He goes, "Davin, I thought we were friends. Did you think that I would think you're a demon or whatever? Because they're very chill with spirits and stuff in Ravani." And Davrin's "You guys are not good at listening. I'm not a spirit, Tosh." And he's "Hey, you don't have to be ashamed of what you are." And Davrin's "I never said I was, but thank you, Tosh." Conversations like that. Someone sat down and wrote these. And if you want more good writing, I went into the lore. I got it right here on the screen. I got the game up right here so I can this because I'm not going to remember this. Harding keeps on talking about her famous ham and jam slam. And I got the coldest entry for this, and it's labeled Harding's favorite foods under the dwarven people. Listen to this, and I'm going to quote the whole thing now. Balara. So this is her writing, to Balara. "I'm honored you want these. I don't really cook, and these aren't really recipes. I just throw things together. Anyway, here you go. Apple cheesy butter noodles. Noodles, in brackets, cooked with butter and salt, close bracket. Fresh diced apples or baked slices or applesauce, in bracket, whatever's convenient, bracket. Grated cheese. Layer apples on top of noodles in a bowl, then cheese. Bake in the oven until cheese melts. But you're a mage, so you can use fire. You get a nice bubbly crust that way. Wait a bit before eating so you don't burn your mouth." Then she goes down to ham and jam slam. Ham, in brackets, or bacon. Jam, Anything works, but I like plum, cherry, or apple. Buttered toast. Slam, ham, and jam together between toast. Yam and jam slam, Emmerich approved. Replace ham with yams. Sprinkle with salt and roast in the oven until tender. What is this? We're getting full on recipes. This stuff I just find funny. It's like, and it's, you can see, but this is Harding clearly writing that. That's good writing. I like that. That was just fun. I was reading that. I was like, man, we getting some recipes, Dragon Age recipes. Come on now. And then you get one from Emmerich. I keep pronouncing his name wrong because I think Lucanus asked for it. Here it says here. Listen to this. This is, you can tell from the character, Professor Emmerich being a teacher, books and stuff. He's more detailed and like he what's the word? He elaborates more. Listen to this quote. Lucanus. Here's my mother's hazelnut. I think it's torte. She made one every winter scent cake. 1.5 cups of sugar. 2 cups of finely ground toasted hazelnuts, 3/4 of a cup of sifted flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder sifted into flour, 8 eggs, whites and yolks separated, 1.25 cups of apricot preserves, apricot liquor for brushing, icing, 8 ounces of chopped up dark chocolate, 1 cup of heavy cream, pinch of salt, 2 tablespoons of orange liquor or rum, I'm Jamaican so you know rum stereotypes what, or strong coffee if wanted. And that, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. That alone is big. Or strong coffee if wanted. Because everyone knows Lucanus is the coffee man. You know? Again, shows that they understand and learn about each other. Instructions. And now you got instructions. Look how detailed this man is. Beat egg yolks with sugar until thick and light yellow. Beat egg whites in fresh bowl. Mix ground hazelnuts into egg yolk and sugar. Slowly add flour. Then gently, all caps with 3 exclamation marks. He says gently. Fold in egg whites, butter and flour, 2 8.5-inch pans, bake around an hour, 325 degrees. He doesn't stop. Take cakes from pans, cool, split in half, brush with apricot liquor, warm apricot preserves, strain out skins, spread preserves across the cakes, then some icing as you stack. Decorate with icing and whole hazelnuts. Icing now. Gently boil cream, then pour over chopped up chocolate. Add pinch of salt for taste. Stir, then let rest for 15 to 20 minutes to make sure it's all melted. Cool completely. Then whip it up and decorate the cake. Can add in coffee or liquor or both to taste. Can also add in ground hazelnuts when whipping up the icing to add texture. And done. Like... I'm sorry, this game has got great writing. I like it. I like the conversations between the allies. I like the cutscenes, especially when they're sitting there talking with Solus about Solus's regrets and that stuff with the team meetings and stuff like that is realistic because I've had meetings with people and it just kind of reminds me of those days when I did some of those stuff. And just seeing like the codex here, the writing the style, these whole recipes. Y'all want to do baking like Emmerich's his mother? The hazelnut torte? It's right here. It's right here. And the way how Tosh writes is very simple, straight to the point, and just she puts her a temper in there, stuff like that. I think they did a good job. The character shines through in all these moments. From the team meetings to the dialogues to the writings, even in the codex, I think they did a bang up job. So I know people say it's bad writing. I would like to see those people write a book or anything. I've written, and I'm looking at this, and I don't have a problem with it. I laughed at moments. I was sad at moments. And I think this was maybe one of the most, if not the hardest hitting moment in the entire story. I'm going to do this and I'm going to move into the next category. Entire story was that moment when, and I haven't got it right in front of me, but I did record it, when we confronted Solus at the top before going after, after beating Elganon. Yeah, after beating Elganon. And Solus is there. He comes back from his wolf form, which was epic. I wish they made Solus's wolf form bigger, because compared to the Archdemon, his body was little, but he still wolf slapped that dragon into a wall. So he boxing. I wasn't familiar with your game, Solus, but yeah, you're still bold though. But yeah, and he was there, and it was like, we're convincing him, yo, bind the fade to you or the veil to you or something like that. He has to like use blood, he has to cut himself, blood man and stuff like that, which he loathes, he hates it. And we had to convince him, is like, Solus, you could do it, because Varric said deep down he's just a hero, he thinks he's the one who can solve it, he's actually not a bad guy. and you're just trying to convince him. And then his love, Inquisitor, shows up, and she talks to him, and he's just like, I cannot. And you can see he's fighting, he's struggling. But what got me was when you use, because I had the Mythal essence thing, that statue, and Morgan used it, and she got to show up. So this was Mythal for real, legit. And he was there, and it was his dear friend and companion. And then she was talking about how, look, I used you, I made you do this and that kind of stuff. And then he was like, and then she said something like, I release you from my charge. And that moment where Solus started bowing over, bending over, holding himself, shaking, and like basically crying. He just looked like a hurt child. But it was such a big deal because it was like a mountain's worth of like guilt, regret, and blame just came off of his shoulders. And that was a big deal to me because you don't know this, some people don't know this, but some people do. I've done like a lot of work and stuff in the community, and I've done some things in my church and stuff. I've done mentoring and stuff like that, hearing people out. I've even like worked with victims of like, people who've been for rape before. I'm connected with people who've done prison ministry and stuff. And you reach people. Sometimes there's some broken people, hurting people, and there are people who've been holding on to things that's been harming them and making life hard, and it's been burdening them for years. Sometimes it's unforgiveness, and sometimes not even forgiving themselves, and they be held in it for 30, 20, 40 years. And some people are suffering from that. As the Bible says, the stress, warrior turns to stress, the stress turns to sickness, the sickness leads to death. It's eating away at people. There's so many people there who are literally suffering. And sometimes because of something someone did to them, sometimes because they don't forgive themselves, sometimes it's like a regret, something they wish they could do, but time won't go back. Or sometimes it's, it's just like a haunting guilt. And it's just, when she said, I release you from my charge, and that it was almost the equivalent of someone saying to someone, look, man, I know what you did, but I forgive you. Now please, sucker, just forgive yourself. And that pain, just hearing someone say, man, I forgive you, man, like, some people can't bear it, and they end up just like crying up, turning into a bunch of blooming babies, bro. Because this pain is real. I know Solus is a fictional character, but there are people like for real, and I've seen it with my own eyes. And that got to me, because I worked and deal with people, bro. That whole part where, and Solus, he's like over 1,000 years old. He has the guilt of these wars, what happened with the Titans, these deaths, betraying even the ones he loved, people who believed in him. And you have to like Mario jump off of Yoshi's back. Yoshi falls in the dip to get ahead. He's done that to people. And he's not an evil, bad guy deep down. He really think this is the only solution. I gotta help. I gotta do this. And that touched me. I don't care what anyone says. If you want to say bad writing, I don't know. Get out of here, bro. Nah, bro. Sorry. That was deep. That was real. I loved that. And I can see the different points. I can pinpoint where I could tell people cried, because I see people online talking about, some guy said I cried 3 times in Dragon Age Veilguard. This lady was talking about I cried 2 times. This person said I cried. I can like pinpoint the moment, so I think this is what got some people to tears. That moment right there, I'm not gonna lie, that got to me. I didn't cry, but that got to me, and I was like, wow, man. Solus is finally released from that prison. It's like to say how Lucanus was free from that ossuary, that prison, but he was still like mentally in prison. That's why Spite says, he has not let us free. We're still here. That kind of thing. It's like, what you talking about? You free. And that's why he was still mentally in prison. He did not move forwards. And it makes more sense when it's like that veil was to trap the gods, and he was trapped by his regrets, and he could not move. He couldn't get out because he couldn't move forwards. That is deep. Nah. Sorry. Yo, you're not gonna tell me this is bad writing, or worse, this is a bad game. There's idiots out there like Angry Joe who said 3 out of 10. Freaking moron. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I could talk more about that and how deep some of the stuff is. It's lovely. And the battle with Oh, Elganon and Gillian's relationship, how they are calling her sister. No, no. Now, concerning the whole writing thing, I just want to address this again quickly. Is I know people kept on, some people, especially YouTubers, wanted to bring up Baldur's Gate 3 like it's like the pinnacle of writing or something like that. And yes, I'm more familiar with Baldur's Gate 3 than I am with like the previous Dragon Age games. And I even, just to make sure, re-watched, online cutscenes. Well, not really cutscenes, like conversations and dialogues that's in there. And no, I'm not like super impressed of anything was in Baldur's Gate 3's dialogue or writing or like, talking or anything like that. I mean, for starters, your character doesn't even talk. You just select a line and it's just done. Your character's like a dumb puppet in a sense, and there's the narrator and stuff. So you don't even have a voice acting or anything like that. So in that way, it is beneath Veilguard. But like, no, I'm listening to it and it's just characters talking. Like I said, the conversations are only as elaborate or as complex as the characters themselves. Right? Again, if you're talking to a character like Tosh, she just keeps it short, simple, straight to the point, direct, one-liners, two-liners, simple. Like, if you listen to a character, that's what it is. That's not bad writing. That's just the character's character. But if you talk to someone like Professor Emmerich, sorry, I keep saying Emmerich. Gosh, I keep getting his name funny like that. Professor Emmerich, he speaks far more detailed, more elaborate, and sometimes there's a bit of like enunciation, the accent, it is different. So, I don't see Baldur's Gate 3 having like superior writing, anything like that, or whatever. I mean, number of people who play through it, you have to be into that kind of game of itself to progress through. Some people played it and they said no, they went to other games like Spider-Man 2 instead. I don't know, whereas I felt the action definitely of Veilguard kept going further. If we were to talk about like the game as like actual like rank above all writing and dialogue, stuff like where I can say its text is right, it's just above the others. It's above Veilguard, it's above Baldur's Gate 3 easily. The only game that fits that category is Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut. That game has amazing dialogue, amazing writing based on the vocabulary, the descriptions of like what is happening. Like, they've done an amazing job. Like, no game is on the level as Slay the Princess. No game is on that level. Not Veilguard, not Baldur's Gate 3. Like, these other games just have standard just writing. It's just fine. It's good. It just does it. People have to understand, not all characters speak complex. People want to say, oh, Marvel writing. Some people speak like Marvel characters. Don't act like you don't. If you don't know a person like that, then that's just you. Broaden your circle. But like, sometimes you encounter, people who just speak like that. They don't speak complex and long. They don't use 4-syllable words, 3-syllable words. They don't speak with like old English style or anything like that. So to say a common and right, can you imagine if someone spoke in such serious description, like all the time? Every time you try to talk to them, they just spoke with that next level vocabulary. Honestly, it'll just get on your nerves. Like, every character can't be Shakespeareing it up. It just would be annoying. It wouldn't make sense. For example, oh gosh, how am I gonna do this? For example, let's say you ask, what's simple? Pizza. Let's say you ask your friend, hey, do you want pizza? And your friend's response was along the lines of, pizza, the art or act of flour, sauce, all other forms of compatible substances for toppings. Such a cuisine is optimal consumption regarding maximizing energy. Is texture which one, such as ourselves, can describe as complementary for our temples, which we refer to as our terrestrial shells. You're going to be looking at your friend like, dude, what the frick? Do you want pizza or not? If someone always talks like that, like, that's, I don't know, the expectations people have for writing in games is just, it's just nonsense. I don't know. I like when people speak and they keep what they're trying to say or ask of me to 20 words or less. They keep it short. I have no problems talking to a bunch of Marvel style speakers, bro. Like, that's just me. So yeah, this whole comparison of Baldur's Gate 3, I checked it out again. Like I said, I'm not impressed with the writing. It's not something super amazing. It's just writing from characters and the language just suits based on who is talking. That's just it. So I just no. So that just that concerning the writing. That's all. We gotta move on. Next, my favorite part of the game, the combat. I don't care. This is the best part of the game. The combat is wild in this game. It's freaking wild. Off the top of my head, it's tough to think of another game that did a mage better than the mage in Dragon Age of Veilguard. Because I was a mage. And the only two games that come up to my head about magical mage users is one, the sorcerer class in Diablo 4, and two, a unforeseen tricast user in Immortals of Avium. Those are the only two that come to my head as competitors for like just being the best mage in a game, like how it feels and your power and stuff like that. Like those three games I truly feel powerful. I think maybe Veilguard did it the best. Maybe it's tough. I'm gonna maybe have to do a podcast episode talking about that because the combat is crazy. Like just like alone, and you probably will see it in the video that's here where I look over some skills and stuff. There are skills that really can just change how you play and build to strategies. If you want to go all damage, you can go all damage. If you just want to focus on takedowns, you can focus on takedowns. If you want to focus on enhanced elemental damages or enemies that have afflictions, you want to focus on just stacking as many advantages as possible. You want to just like do as much damage to frozen enemies and stuff like that. You want to focus on stagger damage. You could do all those things and mix and match. Moose and squirrel. That's a reference. Let me know if you know where that's from. And me, I went for the stagger build. I wanted to go with staggering enemies. And I personally feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like I made the strongest build in the game. Strategy games is my jam. Alright, I play real-time strategy like Supreme Commander 2, Halo Wars 2. You know, I've played, Gears, Tactics, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, strategy games, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, tabletop games, card games. Strategy is my jam. So I love putting things together, like tower defense and stuff. That's me, right? I feel like I made the strongest build. My build was so good that enemies staggered so fast that I could just take down all of them. And this is what I did. I did the thing where I boosted staggers and stuff like that. That's fine. But then when an enemy gets hit with a takedown, I got shocking weapons. I got, I think it's called Rally Party. So my party gets a buff. When I did a takedown, I also healed. I also regained back ultimate charge. I also gained back a staff energy, and I gained back mana. And then I also, because of like, if I'm with a certain character, I'll also get, I think, is it precision? Like when I did a takedown, I'll always get at least a minimum of like 3 or 4 advantages, buffs, aka, at the same time. And with shocking weapons, I'm doing more stagger damage. So I'm staggering these guys. I keep taking them down. And if I haven't got my ultimate, I get my ultimate back so fast. Then I equip this amulet or item to me. Every time, it's a unique one. Every time I kill an enemy, I gain 5%, ultimate charge, to bring it back faster. So I'm getting 20% every time I take down, and every time I kill an enemy, that's 5% stacked on top, and I'm getting buffs, and I'm healing at the same time? Like, the combat is actually deep in this game. It's deep. That's why, you can't listen to people. It's not about how big a YouTuber is or whatever, because people have this silly mentality where, because this person got 50,000 subscribers, people automatically see them as authoritative and right. This has got 1 million followers, so automatically this guy must know more. Wrong. It's not like that. It's not like that. As I explained in previous videos, I watched some of the gameplay of Cold Carnage and I think the guy's name is Wolf Hot FPS. I checked out their combat, and it just showed me that they did not know how to play the game properly. They did not engage with the mechanics. Like, Cold Carnage does not know what he's talking about. When he's talking about the combat, repetitive, and Wolf Hot talk about it's not, I wish it was as tactical as Inquisition, which is crazy, for the reason I'm about to give you soon, which is crazy. And it's like, I had to, I had to change it, respend the points and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, sucker, I'm watching you. You're not engaging with all the mechanics. You're playing like an ignorant person right now, and you want to say the problem is the game's combat? No! The problem is you, Cold Carnage and Wolf Hard. It's you and your ignorance. I'm diving into this combat, and it's not repetitive because I can play in many ways. And I can show such great game design decisions and choice by the developers. The fact that It costs you nothing to unspend your points and respend them. So you can mix something. You can go with the Necromancy Twilight build that the Morn Watchers have. You can go for the whole Antivan Crow style. We got the more of the Shocker Electricity and that Blade with Rip and Void. You can go for the top parts with like more like the Shadow Dragons and Void Magic. You know, you can just like mix it up. And the fact that you also have Transmog, where you know how you equipped items, equipped armor, but you don't like how it looks. So you then have a transmog where you then get to also select how your character looks. So you select this armor, that's how you look visually, but this armor you selected is what gives you the buffs. That shows careful and good thinking of game design. But they thought it through. They thought about what players would want, and they did that. Change your combat style at will. It doesn't cost you anything to respend those points. The combat's crazy. Listen to this combo I did and tell me if this sounds like bad combat. I got surrounded. I got this group. I ran around so they all came together because they all chased after me. Then I activated basically a black hole. Right now at the top of your head, tell me another game where you can just use a black hole as an attack to suck in and damage your enemies. No pause. Name me one. Can't do it, can you? I'll give you one. You can do it in Starfield. You have a black hole ability. Right? But different game, right? So I did a black hole, which is pulling enemies in and damaging them, right? So while I activate the black hole, then I activate, I think it's called Tempest Storm, where periodically lightning keeps on striking down the enemies. It hit them with a knockdown as well, especially depending on their size, and it was like taking shock. So they get hit by that. Then I dropped a flaming meteorite on top of them. No Madara, no Naruto. Dropped a flaming meteorite on top of them. Then I did I think it's called, is it Ice Trail or Ice Burst? Let me go into the skills right now because I got a game up right here. No, it's called Ice Blast. Then I used Ice Blast and smashed them while they're in the black hole. And I just kept on bombarding them with my light attack particles. And then when the black hole finally goes, when disperses, everything is dead. Does that sound like bad combat to you? And since they all died, remember, I get 5% for each enemy that I'm killing to refill my ultimate. I'm getting my ultimate back real fast. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it gets worse. It gets better, actually. Because the lightning striking them, they're stacking up shock damage. And shock is damage over time, but it's of the electric type. The flaming mirror hits them, and then they take burn damage. Burn is fire damage over time. Fire damage. And then, because I used, what's it called? I keep forgetting. That's it, Ice Blast. Ice Blast chills enemy. And chill is cold damage over time. It also slows their movements and attack. So they're taking ice damage over time, electric damage over time, fire damage over time, while being continuously struck by electricity from above. No Zeus. While being damaged by a black hole that's sucking them in hard, no pause. Right? What can they do? That's a crazy combination. That's not a powerful mage. What the heck is? I don't care what anyone says. It's amazing. It's amazing. I want to play the game again, another run, simply just so I can now try the rogue and see what the rogue is about. From what I'm hearing from people online, the rogue is crazy. The rogue is actually a cool archer class. Most games suck at making good archer classes. I'm hearing it's crazy. I'm hearing it's fast. I want to play it, but so many bangers are coming out from Xbox and these other games. I gotta be ready for a Valve that comes out. I'm playing Eternal Strands now, so I had to get Veilguard done and move on. But if there's no other games right now, I'll actually do another run of this just so I can play the rogue. And then you got the warrior class and stuff like that. The combat is amazing. The way how I played it was so much different and way better than how Cole Carnage played it, Wolfheart, and then they want to talk smack about the combat. Shows that these guys do not know what to talk about. Bigger does not mean they're more authoritative or have better credentials. It does not mean anything. I've seen too many wise old heads I talk to who nobody knows who they are, but they got wisdom. But big people like big streamers and stuff like that who act like a bunch of fools and sometimes really brain dead takes. They're popular, but they don't know what they're talking about. It's not about the popularity. Come on, people. Use some common sense. The combat is crazy. It's just crazy. I loved it. I felt powerful as a mage. People say there's not as much depth to the combat. First of all, you got your primary attack. They got like a secondary attack. Then you have as a mage, you have an omnidirectional block. right? Then you also have a get off me move. Then you have a sprinting attack. You have a jumping attack. You have a charged attack. Already there's way more going on than Bloodborne and stuff like that. Then you can switch modes. So I go from my staff to sword and orb. Something some people seem to be allergic to for some reason. Use it. It's great for close range, right? So then you have your primary attack with that, your secondary attack and charge attacks with that. But then with the sword and orb, you have access to a parry. A parry, then a follow-up strong attack after the parry. Do you see how much is already involved? And that's excluded. And then you have prime and detonations. Then you have your companions abilities on top of that. Like the combos I came up with Balara's like vortex like ability. Let me quickly go to companions. Oh, Balara's right here. Yeah, here she is. The main girl herself. That's what it's called. Galvanized Tear. I upgrade that to the point where, yeah, it draws the enemies and deals damage to them and pulls them in close, but it also leaves behind like a damaging field effect, especially even after it's done. So when I did Black Hole, I trapped the Balars on my team, I get her to do Galvanized Tear. So there's 2 sucking abilities, double the suck, no Hoover, right? Double the suck. And while they're in there taking the damage and the continuous damage comes in from Balara, my lightning is happy to all that stacked on top of it. Do not come here and talk nonsense about the combat is, very repetitive, it's very simple. No, you just suck at the game. Just say that and move on. Because online, there was some people I remember, and I'm going to try to see if I can put the tweets in the video as well, because I'm looking at it right here on my computer screen as well. There are people who were like admitting that the thing they didn't like about the mage was that up close they felt useless, they got swarmed by enemies and stuff like that. And then, but then I seen some people who were being honest though. The guy said, but then I later on remembered there's a sword mode, like sword and orb mode, and I can parry. And I was like, so yeah, it was a skill issue on my part. And I was like, and I can respect people who could admit, yo, I'm wrong, right? It's not the problem wasn't the game. The problem was the player. So I want to just give some tips for mages up close real quickly, since some people are clearly struggling with mage up close. First of all, if people are coming in close to you, stuff like that, go to blade and orb mode. You have access to a parry. You have faster attacks with better recovery. Do that. Second, you're faster than all the enemies in the game. You can just run, dash, evade, get away from them to create space if you need to. Next, there's abilities like Mind Blast, which is literally a get off me move. If you have your staff, you hold it omnidirectional shield, you can then, I think, tap the heavy attack, the one where you press Y, and you spend some mana and you knock enemies off you. Like your shield becomes like an attack and you push them off. And if you got a full staff energy, you also inflict them with the status damage over time. Like I had a necrotic damage staff, so they're inflicted with necrosis as well after even being knocked back. There's also Frost Nova. Frost Nova is literally, again, omnidirectional move, but it instantly freezes all enemies around you temporarily. So if they're swarming you, just do Frost Nova. They're all frozen. Get your distance. And Frost Nova is like 3 points away, so you can access that near the start of the game. Mind Blast is literally you can spend your first point and get Mind Blast. Then spend a second point, you get a Charging Spirit. Then you spend a third point, you have access to Frost Nova. So right there, you got 2 close range, get the heck off me moves right out the gates. And Blade of Sword mode is default, it's just right there. And then you've got runes that can help you. The runes, many people, including people who like the game, have admitted, I forgot about the runes. I was not using the runes. At the very start of the game, I forgot about the runes, but I was like, no. You gotta engage with everything. And I started using the runes, and now I can't stop using the runes. It's not an addiction, but it's close. These runes change so much. There's so much abilities, variety, and stuff like that. It changes things. Like if you want to get off me situation, you got Divert. Divert makes the enemies attack your companions instead. So they will actually ignore you. Some people said, I wish our companions got more aggro. Well, there you go. Get the Divert rune, and you can literally make the enemies go after your allies instead. Plus, you got people like Daverin and Tarsh, who literally have taunt and get the attention of enemies to come and swing on them instead. So, yeah. Then you got Repulse. Repulse knocks down all enemies around you. Daze literally staggers all enemies around you. There's multiple ways to handle combat in close range. So yes, I love the environments. I love the music. That music of that mission where you're doing Balara's quest to go and stop Syria and stuff like that is a completely different song from the rest of like the battle music done in the rest of the game. Music is excellent. Sounds are excellent. Animation is the best that Dragon Age has been. Visual graphics is the best that Dragon Age has been. The combat is the best that Dragon Age has been. So the people say the combat is the worst thing. Liars, bro. Because I can tell you right here. I got right here on the screen. I've retweeted. So you go to my X account. Not X as in like an ex-girlfriend. No, I don't have one. No, X as in formerly known as Twitter. X, right? I retweeted some of these comments. This one person here said, the problem I have with Veilguard is that I love the combat system so much, I'm dreading going back to the combat in previous games. This person said, in replying to that person, said, I'm replaying, I guess, Dragon Age Origin, Dragon Age 2 now as well. I can feel your pain. I see where they built what we ended up with off of the 2 original systems. I think they typed this a bit weirdly. He said, but man, the new mechanics in combat in Veilguard are just insanely fun. This guy says, I always play a mage for my first run in the DA games. I'm so spoiled by the spell blade after being Veilguard, but I don't know if I can play as a mage in the other games anymore. It was just too much fun. Remember, guys, some people want to say the combat was bad. This person said, going back to Inquisition after Veilguard is a bitch. This person said, it's wild to see so many people whining about ability cooldowns when A, plenty of things are unlocked to mitigate cooldown, which is true, and B, that's what the attack, block, parry, and dodge combat is there for. People act like they haven't played a single ARPG in the last 7 years. Well, that's also true. This person also said, and the hair physics. Veilguard really just spoiled the F out of me with hair physics. No other game will ever compete. Oh yeah, I gave my girl some amazingly full bouncy hair, bro. Oh my gosh, her hair is good. And I can guarantee you right now, she was born with it. It was not Maybelline. But look, this is not sponsored by Maybelline. And this guy said, I generally skip a Dragon Age Origin when I replay the series at this point. It is so clunky. He says DA2 and Inquisition are just more enjoyable. He says with Dragon Age Veilguard being the best so far in my view. So once again, the combat is definitely not the worst. You got Pete. The combat is so good. Veilguard's combat is so good that people don't even want to go back to the previous games because it's like I gotta play for the combat, and their combat compared to Veilguard is just not it. It's trash. It's a downgrade. They just can't do it. I see more. That's just some examples. I've seen more comments like that online. People are like, nah, man, this rogue is it. The rogue is it in Veilguard. Rogue and Inquisition, not the same, bro. It's just nah. Because in these games, a lot of action is combat, so you can't avoid that. And when you go to something that's a downgrade, it's like playing Bloodborne after Elden Ring. It's just a downgrade. I'm not gonna go play Bloodborne. I got Elden Ring, I got Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, and I got the new Lords of the Fallen. There's no reason for me to play Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3. And yes, Dark Souls 3 is better than Bloodborne in my opinion. It's ridiculous. So these people really, really, really just love the combat. I loved it too. This is another thing that Dragon Age the Veilguard did that people do not give any respects or credit to, is completely overlooked, is that Dragon Age the Veilguard launched basically bug-free, glitch-free. You know, I have like, many hours in the game. Many hours. And double checked. I think it's 86 hours I have in the game. I think it's 86. And not once has it crashed. There's been no crash. I haven't got a bug. Haven't experienced a glitch. There's been some moments like, I go to do a takedown, but the enemy's already lying flat on the ground from a knockdown. So my takedown happens, but it whips because they're on the ground. It swings above them. But that's like the timing of when your attacks and stuff like that. So that's not like a game thing or anything like that. If you like outside of that, it's like, because when people think that's not a big deal. Games should be launched like that. But no, let's use some wisdom here. That's not the case. When you look at especially a lot of the big modern games that's come out, the big modern ones, there's been bugs, performance issues, crashes. Remember when Spider-Bug 2 came out? And that's why I called it Spider-Bug 2 and not Spider-Man 2. It was the buggiest release of that year. An abominable state. We're not going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 and all that kind of stuff, but like, people had issues all around. Like, all around. Like, I didn't see any issues for like Redfall and Xbox, but there's some for people on PC. And like, even these big games, they've been having some issues on launch. Some things have been overlooked, some things were forgotten, some things were ironed out. And that's been happening. It shouldn't be happening, but that is what's happening. And it makes sense because when you look at these big projects, when you're doing a big, huge game, it's so easy to overlook some things. It's so easy to like forget something, or one certain spot does not get checked out, one certain spot gets missed, or something like that. And to make it easy to understand, think of it like you're writing a book. If you're just doing like a book that's like the size of a leaflet, 4 pages and stuff, it's so easier for you to be able to double check everything. It's easier for people to get back to you faster, test this for you. It's like less excuse and reason for you to like have grammar errors or missing information on like on a leaflet, 4-page this, a poster, whatever it is. But if you're doing a full-on big book, novel, 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages, 400 pages, it's way easier. It's more understandable for you to have a mistake or error or something forgotten or like missing out from there. If you want another example, think of it like you're cleaning, like your professional home cleaner, house cleaner. Monday, you gotta do this person's place, and it is a studio apartment, right? It's just one major area, that's it, and maybe like one small like section where there's another room, maybe that's the bathroom, whatever it is, right? Some places it's just all in one, just one square and everything's just in there, like one of those places in Japan. Like, that's easy to do. You have no excuse for missing anything. It's just one room. Then if you're doing someone who's got like a whole flat or whole home and there's like 5 rooms in there or something like that, you might miss a few spots, maybe, but whatever, you can still do it all. But then if you was to clean something like Buckingham Palace with its like 400 plus rooms or whatever it is, I think you could be totally forgiven for missing a room or two with how big it is and everything. You gotta like cover all of this. Like even places like what's the name again? Emma Jones in Dead Island 2. Have you seen her place? Cleaning something like that? It's just no. It's the same idea goes in there. It's just these bigger projects. It has rooms for more mistakes. Some things get forgotten, and that's what happened. And we see with a lot of these new games, people are talking about some performance issues with Dragon's Dogma 2. People completely kept talking about performance issues when it came to Black Myth Wukong, especially on the PlayStation 5. All of that. But what you call it? Dragon Age of Veilguard. There wasn't actually any issue. Like the complaints, the majority of things that people were bringing up about it was from anti-woke Muppets. Those idiots who just talk about DEI, wokeness, this, that. They had some people who actually played the game who actually had some criticism things about it. Maybe they was talking about art style, or they was talking about, story choices. It doesn't have as much consequence, or some saying no consequences whatsoever. Stuff like that. But nobody mentioned or talked about performance issues, bugs, crashes, or anything. And I think that's being overlooked. I think based off of that, Dragon Age Veilguard should be a standard. Definitely is the standard. A game, 0 issues right off the bat. No, here's a week 1 patch to fix this visual bug. No, none of that. That's actually impressive in today's day with how these big projects and games. So I just wanted to highlight that as well, because it got no credit for that. Like, who actually gave the game credit for that? I'll give the game credit for that. And like I said, I'm going to stand on that. Now, time to go for the part where I'm going to counter and talk about some things people said about the game, and they used it as like a negative against the game. And I want to give my responses to that as well. I've done a bit of that in previous videos, but here's some other ones. First part, well, some people say they wanted their decisions to be carried over to Veilguard. And my response to that is, that's impossible. I mean, look, if you want to play a game where all your choices and decisions for the previous game carries over to the sequel, especially one that comes out 10 years later, then you gotta play Batman Telltale series or Walking Dead Telltales. They're literally all about carrying over your decision. These are separate games. Heck, you're not even the same person in Veilguard. Aren't you Rook? And then the person in Inquisition, aren't you the guy with the mark? He was being a prisoner, and then they found out you can close these these holes up and stuff like that. You were going around closing them up. You're not even the same person. Do you really think BioWare is going to be able to, let's say you have 1 million people who played Inquisition, like 1 million fans, remember the decisions of each of those 1 million fans' playthroughs to transfer that over to have a uniquely created specific world for you in Veilguard? In Veilguard? That's not going to happen. Like, they'll need to work on that for 10 plus years with multiple developers all coming together. That's just not happening. Like, you can't deduct marks and say the game is bad for something that no other game is doing like that. Especially not after 10 years ago. I already covered this in the previous video, but remember, 10 years ago, there was no Fortnite. 10 years ago, there's no Xbox Series X, there's no Halo Infinite. 10 years ago, if you're 25 and you're watching this video or listening to this podcast episode, 10 years ago, you were back in secondary school or middle school. There's no way you expected things to be the same after 10 years. There's no way you expect things to be carried over after 10 years. 10 years, sucker. People went through COVID. And the shutdowns and the lockdowns have ruined a lot of things. It's what messed with Arcane Studios and stuff, and they had to work through it, and they did the best they can with Redfall and stuff like that, but people didn't want to show no mercy to them. 10 years ago was a long time. Do you know how many people has been hired, fired, promoted, moved on, quit? It's not even the same team as 10 years ago. I don't know. I don't like when people have expectation of games and developers that no other developer or game has even done. And you wouldn't even know how, if I asked you, you wouldn't even know how to do what you're asking. That's not fair. That's not an L for BioWare. That's an L for you. You can't expect them to remember this and put this in after 10 years. That's not going to happen. That ain't going to happen. There was a comment from someone. I think I saved it. This person said, oh yeah, here you go. This person said, because 10 years to wait, it meant a lot of ideas to cook. And some people either got mad it didn't fit their fan fictions, and some people didn't like that it detached so much from the previous games regionally and character-wise, and felt like it abandoned the South or past choices. Like, you're not even in the same region, right? Isn't this actions and stuff a previous game like a southern fetus? Like the southern region? While the stuff in Veilguard is taking place in the north? You're not in the same place. You're not in the same anything. Like, things are different, and it's not about what, like, you want. This is how I think the story should have gone. Sorry, but who are you? You're not even, like, on the team or anything. Like, you can't dictate that. They're making the game, and they got the story they want to tell, and that's it. If we start marking games based on what we think they should have done for the concern of story, then, boy, grades will be all over the place. I'll speed through this a bit more quickly. Now people will talk about hand-holding and easy puzzles. That idiot Angry Joe did a mocking of this. And I'm just like, this just actually exposes like the ignorance of a lot of people and the egos of a lot of people. Yes, at the start of the game, there's way more hand-holding and like easy mode puzzles. You want to know why that's the case? This was done on purpose. Not because they don't know how to design things. This is done on purpose. Simply because this game was made with something in mind. Old players and Dragon Age veterans and new players like me who don't know nothing about Dragon Age. They want to make this game to the point where anybody and everybody is able to play it. I don't know. There's some people, those puzzles at the start, that's their level. That's what they can do. Any harder and they're stomped. For real. Don't have this ego and be like, well, they should have played the game then. Well, that's really egotistical of you. People are allowed to play the game and have fun. That's why later on in the game, it's not holding hands. You see a chest over there, and you can't figure out how to get it. The game doesn't give it to you. You're going to have to start doing some brain work and puzzle yourself. It's at the start of the game because it's slowly introduced and gets some people into it. Some people struggle with these things. And I'm not just talking about people with like, disabilities and mental quirks and stuff like that. Because I have done a lot of work with special needs people and people, some people who got a dyslexic, dyscalculia and all that kind of stuff. And like some people have struggled with like eye and hand coordinations and stuff. Like there are people literally, but it's easy for you, Mr. From Software Souls game veteran. Yeah, it's easy for you. But for some people, that is hard. And they can't do it. You need to slowly lead in. They got to literally crawl. They got to literally crawl. And it's very egotistical of you to be like, no, where is it? It was Angry Joe's at the door of the Explorer. Do you see the blight spot? Do you see it? Where? It's like, because he's an idiot. He is. For some people, they need that slow, get themselves into it. Like, is that the people who say, oh, Mortal Shell is easy? Mortal Shell is an easy game, or the first Lords of Fallen is an easy game, is a poor man's Dark Souls. It's like, no, you idiot. It's easy to you because you played every single Souls game. and Elden Ring. So yes, like me, I play so many Soul games as well. So yes, I don't find Mortal Shell hard. I can honestly say some parts were easy. The most I died to a boss in Mortal Shell, one boss was 3 times. That's it. That's it. That was the most they got out of me. But you put the average player in there, they're gonna find out Mortal Shell is hard. Because it is a hard game. It's just easier for the veterans. Like, I knew this person. So you can't say this person's dumb, because this person is well accomplished. They are a solicitor. And they are in a great position. They can speak 3 different languages, well educated, very intelligent person, big job, big money. They are good. I like to have like proper debates with them, because talking to solicitors, their language is different. It's a different language than just a regular friend Larry, how he talks, right? This person's brilliant. I've got a lot of respect for her, right? But for the life of me, this woman struggled like all heck to understand and utilize cover in Gears of War. I kid you not. It was so bad, I was getting frustrated multiple times of how someone could be so slow at this. I remember, and I was younger then as well, so my patience wasn't as good. I admit that. I've definitely gotten better. It was like, okay, where are they shooting you from? You're clearly getting shot in your right shoulder. So, where should you go here on cover to protect yourself from the bullets? They oh my gosh. Like, this is a highly intelligent person, great job, speaks multiple languages, all this kind of stuff. But something as simple as using cover in Gears of War was a battle for them. Some people don't even play action RPGs at all. This might be the first action RPG game they've ever played. They've maybe not played fast-paced games. That's why the developers in accessibility have a section where if you put on story mode, you can turn on unkillable mode, like a god mode, where your character literally can't die. That way, everyone can play the game and just appreciate this good story. So yes, there's handhelding and obvious stuff at the start because they want everyone to be able to play and get into it, and then they can mature in it, figure out these puzzles themselves. Oh yeah, they showed me. You gotta look for the trail, follow it. Is it here? No, it goes over here. There it is. Oh yes, I solved it. Good. I solved that puzzle. And yes, for you, you're thinking, well, it took you long enough, dumbass. But for them, it's a big deal. So get rid of your silly ego. It was done on purpose. It was a design choice to help other people. Not everyone can do it. Like, for crying out loud, you just get the average mom or dad put the controller in their hand. They don't game, and you put them on Veilguard. You really think they're about to be busting moves and combos like me, putting together strategies and stuff like that? They're not. But because of the settings, they'll be able to play and enjoy the game too. That's good design decisions right there. They were thinking about everyone. Final Fantasy 15 did a similar thing when it says Final Fantasy for fans old and new. They fought about everyone when they made the game. Talked about that longer than I wanted to. They got some people talking and complaining about glowing chests and glints, treasure chests, not ladies. Just, y'all calm down, right? And I was like, is this what we're doing as gamers? Y'all bitching and whining over a glowing chest in the distance because it's glowing? Suck, if I see a glowing chest, I say thank you. I'll go over there and get it and move on. Glad I get to see it. Why is that a problem? Hand holding again? We already talked about hand holding. And plus, you know what the funny thing is? If you go into the settings, let me go into the settings actually right now, because I got the game up on my screen. There's my girl doing her thing, her hair looking luscious. All right, so I'm gonna go to I think it's in gameplay. Is it gameplay or is it accessibility? Oh gosh, where is it again? It could be interface. Yes, it's interface. Dang it, where is it? Might be on the gameplay. I'm probably gonna put it up on the screen anyway because it's in the video that you're probably watching right now. Here it is, wayfinding. It says there's a section right here for object glint visibility. Changes visibility of the glint highlight on interactable objects. You got object glint distance. You even got the option to, like, I think, turn off objective markers. Like, I got it on always. I got glint distance on standard. I got glint visibility on always. You can literally just, like, turn it off. So bringing up, glowing chests and stuff, it ruins my immersion. I don't know why that ruins an immersion in that magical action RPG game when you're clearly not the character. It's not even the first person. Silly. Again, people just have to come up with nonsense to bash a game. If you don't like it, don't bring it up as a negative against the game when you can turn certain of these things off. I agree if you don't like all these things showing in combat, showing, this is the area of effect of this attack, here's the line of trajectory of this projectile and stuff like that, they should put the option there for you to be able to turn it off. I don't see the option for the one in like combat gameplay. I don't see that. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it's under advanced combat settings because I never opened this up. Like if you click it, it takes you to it's right here. Enemy vulnerability, combat timing, melee. Yeah, look, it's right here. Yeah, melee threat indicator. If enabled, an indicator will warn you about incoming melee attacks, like at Batman Arkham Asylum, stuff like that. They got ranged threat indicator. You can turn those off. You can turn those off. What are people complaining about? So it was here all along. Man, people just want to complain and whine about anything. Like gamers these days are equivalent to like Abraham Simpson. An old man yells at clouds. That sums up a lot of gamers. You're complaining over things that something you can turn off and it's not even that big of a deal. Art style. Like, who cares, bro? Come on. And then the other major complaint about this game is the game is woke. I tackled that as well. Okay, first of all, the majority of all the stuff that you classes like woke or like LGBT or whatever it is optional. You're not forced to make your character trans. All right. You do not have to pick the surgery scars on your character. You didn't have to pick any of that. You chose to do that. That's on you. You did it like Inquisition. If we look up Dragon Age games, there was some what people class as woke elements in there as well, because it came down to choice. If you want to choose to have a homosexual relationship with one of your companions, sucker, you chose that. The game did not make you. You chose it. All right. The option that it leads to romance is always highlighted and identified with a heart to show this is you flirting or trying to go down this path. You picked that. That's on you. Don't blame the game for that. And then And then that scene, that garbage scene, that what was it? Pull a barb? Yeah, that scene's absolute garbage. There was some funny elements, but that whole 3 minutes of trying to lecture and give me a lesson about this sucker, no, I don't care. No, they shouldn't be in the game. That's not needed. No. But guess what? People made it sound like that was like what you're gonna see, like the average per cutscene and stuff like that. I counted that scene when I was 67 hours into the game. You don't encounter that scene until you in deep. And it's like the final thing that you encounter with Tosh. The final thing. And speaking of Tosh, I liked Tosh. I liked her short snappiness, simple, straightforward, direct, down to earth. Reminds me of a person that I know personally in that regards, how they talk and stuff like that. I think Tosh was a cool character. But when you see my criticism section, when I get to that, you understand a bit of what I'm saying concerning Tosh. But overall, I did like Tosh. Tosh was funny in many regards. I liked her giving dragon information and stuff like that. But we're going to get into something that they did with Tosh where they did fail her, though. And that's 100% BioWare's fault. Now, yes, as I already made my stance and made it perfectly clear, I don't want woke stuff in my games. Get it out of here. But I dang sure am not going to stand with those hateful, disgusting, anti-woke people over there who are just spewing nasty stuff, hate, and wishing people lose their jobs and celebrating when something doesn't do so well and all this bullcrap. They're nasty people, a lot of them. There's a lot of racists in there as well. Just look what they're doing with Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's not good people over there. Not all of them, but that's definitely not good people over there, man. I am not joining that group. I don't want more stuff in there. Get that out. But I definitely don't support those bums over there who are just motivated and moving by hate like brainless zombie mobs, bro. Screw all of them. I am not part of that. You got Synthetic Man fans in there. Like, sorry, y'all. You have no part in me, bro. I got nothing to do with y'all. So yes. So those are some of some of the main complaints is like seen about like the game and stuff like that. Okay, there is something else. The whole I think that this game's a flop, this game's a fail. I had a lot of fun, and the objective of video games is entertainment and have fun. It did that in bucket loads and more. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a fail. I know in the eyes of the public, it seems different. And no, they did not reach their sale goal. But not reaching a sale goal and not selling well are not the same things. I did a whole podcast episode talking about that, explaining that in details. Just remember this game reached into this silver tier on the Steam. And when you look at the reviews on Xbox, because some people were saying to me, one guy was saying to me specifically this one guy, whoever was, talking about, you just have to accept that most people didn't like this game. First of all, he's wrong and he's ignorant. Like, as I should have, hopefully I put it up in the edit, put up on the screen. I go into the Xbox Marketplace, I go to the review section of the game, and I think it was like 56, 58%, 50 something plus percent gave it a 5-star rating, and like 16% or 10%, whatever more, it's, like I said, it'll be up on there for y'all, gave the game 4 stars and above. That means the literal majority of people on Xbox who actually played the game, not those who are here to review bomb it. And the review bombing did happen. It's even been reported on. There was review bombing, so you cannot deny that. Say what you want. It's factual. You know, that was there. Oh, here it is. I just got it up here on my phone. 54% was 5 stars rating. 14% was 4-star rating. So those are the two largest groups. So 68% of the people who actually played the game on Xbox said it's at a bare minimum of 8 out of 10 or higher. And if you read through these messages, I should hopefully put it up on screen so you guys can see it. There are people saying, I loved it. Some people say, awesome. Some people say it's the best of all the Dragon Age games. Some people say BioWare back on form. Some people said it was a blast. Some people said not my favorite Dragon Age game, but I had a blast. Some people say, don't listen to these people. It is amazing. Try for yourself. I'm seeing so many positive reviews and comments from the gamers, from the players. And yes, some people did admit they believe it's 4 stars, but they gave it 5 stars to counter the 1 stars, the review bar. Because if you go into the 1-star section, is what you expect. Some people say woke slop, DEI. Not talking about whether the game is good or bad, but just woke, DEI, and review bombing. Worst thing ever. Shaming you Xbox for having this in your marketplace. You lost me as a customer. Like, talk about a little crying bitch, right? Like, bye-bye, we don't need you. Like, all that kind of stuff. So you can't take those seriously. They're clearly review bombing. Nothing about this game is 1 out of 10. Unless you're a retard like Angry Joe and said 3 out of 10. Nothing about this game is 3 out of 10. Sorry, no. The lowest you can give it is an 8 out of 10. I've shown before the reviewers, they gave it 4.5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 9 out of 10, and like 9.5 out of 10, and 10 out of 10. So, if people are being honest, just by how the game is, not whether you like any woke stuff or whatever, just as the game, how well it's designed, the lowest you can give it, and I disagree with that, is an 8 out of 10. Now, it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 from me. No. You'll see in the criticism part when I explain that. It doesn't get a 10 out of 10 from me. No. I want to give it a 10 on how fun it is, how much work went into it, the in-depthness of it, the core gameplay, the combat, the voice acting, music, the story, its impact. So it does deserve a 10, but there was 2 things specifically that they did on purpose in the game. But I said, I got to deduct some marks from that. So the most I could give it on a good day will be 9.5. But how I feel overall about Dragon Age the Veilguard is 9 out of 10. But yeah, and then, continue the other point I was making. And then it's like when people talk about, it's sales and the flops. And then he had something. Cole Carnage said something that was so stupid that I lost all respect for the guy. I still stand by it because I'm consistent. I don't switch up for people. Cole Carnage, on average, is better than the average YouTuber. His content, in that case, is better, right? I stand by that. I don't switch up because somebody says something dumb. I'm consistent. That's why you can trust what I say. I'm consistent. I'm fair. He's better than the average YouTuber for sure, and he's one of the better ones on YouTube and stuff like that. I'll say that, and I will stand by that. But he said one of the dumbest things ever that made me lose respect for him. He made a tweet saying something like, to no one's surprise, Dragon Age Veilguard didn't sell well. Now, I hope they don't just blame the anti-woke mob and instead just accept that they just didn't make a good Dragon Age game. And I'm like, are you a freaking idiot, Cole Carnage? So you're going to try and act like the anti-woke mob, the thousands of people and the thousands of bots, actual bots, automated bots, and trolls, all attacking this game, slandering it, telling lies, using the same stock picture image of Tosh screaming on the front of their thumbnails, with the clown stuff on it and all that kind of stuff. All these people with their thousands of fans, thousands of viewers, and their coordinated attempts to smear, telling people directly, don't buy the game, vote with your wallet, avoid it, don't support this, BioWare is dead, all before it came out. So all this was built up before it even came out. And then you had even worse, the scumbag streamers, like the Silver Asmund Gold, that stupid hobo, him just reacting to all these videos that just hate. He did the same thing with Starfield. He did the same thing with Diablo 4. He had a hate boner for Diablo 4, and he also hated on Starfield. Where he just reacts to these things. So his thousands of fans just watch that. He echoes their thoughts because he doesn't have any thoughts for himself. He just echoes it. And his fans, because fans are always echo chambers for these streamers. They believe anything they say. And it's just like all of these people working together, all of that attacking the game, and you co-counters want to say something like, let's not just blame the anti-woke mob. Let's just accept you just didn't know how to make a good game. Shut the frick up. What an idiot. That's like you open up a t-shirt shop and you're just going to sell t-shirts with prints on their stuff. Thousands of people on YouTube. Thousands on streams telling people don't buy your t-shirts. Avoid this brand. Avoid you. You're this, you're that. Slander. This. All of that. Multiple videos a day. Every week is a video attacking you. All of that. And then when your shop finally opens up and sells t-shirts and your sales meet nowhere near your projected amount, do you sit there and say, you know what? It's not because of that angry mom and the coordinated attacks and the slander online and telling people not to follow it and thousands of followers, people with millions of subscribers and doing all these things against me. It's just that I don't know how to make a good t-shirt. Let's be freaking real. So let's debunk that right out of the way. Yes, their biggest issue was the anti-woke mob. 100%. Because these people are the loudest. That's the thing about these games. When people enjoy and play games, same thing that happened with Starfield. What were the Starfield enjoyers doing? They were shutting up and playing the game. They were diving in. I'm 300 hours plus in Starfield. We're just head down, playing the game, and having fun. And maybe after a long session of gaming, we type in and say, I found this new ship. Look at this, guys. Check out the ship. While multiple times throughout the day, PlayStation fanboys plus streamers and YouTubers were tweeting and making videos saying Starfield trash, Bethesda's worst work, sucks, this, Bethesda deserves this, shut down, get rid of jobs, expect some cuts, all throughout the day. So the majority of what you see online was Starfield bad, horrible game. And that's what got the views, because negativity sells. I already talked about this in the previous videos, so I'm not going to go into it deep. That stuff is what made these things big. So when you look at it, you see 90%, this is bad. So it looks like everyone just hates Starfield. But when we look at the numbers, no. Loads and millions love Starfield. We're looking for Dragon Age of Veilguard. I'm seeing many tweets, messages. I remember I talked to some people, longtime fans of Dragon Age and new. I talked to a lot of people, not just in the comment sections, talk to people. A lot of them expressing that they like it. Again, the Xbox Market Store. 68%, that's the majority, said it's 4 out of stars or above and were praising the game. Some say I cried 3 times. Best of the Dragon Age game. One guy said my game of the year. One guy even said it was the best game he ever played. And I was like, okay, that's got to be the highest glaze, but not the best game I ever played, but it's a darn good one, right? There's so many who really do like it. And no, just because a game didn't reach a sell criteria does not mean it's like a flopping off itself. Yes, it failed in that regard for like profits or whatever, but you want to know what other games did not reach their sell? Astrobot, Stellar Blade, even big games that were excellent, like most people enjoy, like Dragon's Dogma 2. That didn't reach their sell goal either. Are you now going to say Dragon's Dogma 2 is a flop and that game sucked? No, you're not going to say it, are you? Spider-Bug 2 didn't reach it either. Single player games, especially, they don't reach the sell goals required and that's needed anymore. They just don't. Like, unless your game sells like Black Myth Wukong, it's never gonna meet that sell criteria. Really, let's be real. That's why more developers are avoiding single player games. They're trying to get live service games because that's where the big money is at. People do not just have £60 and $70 to throw at games anymore, like back in the day when games were priced £20, £30. Things are going tougher. Rent is up. Council tax is up. Energy bills and utilities up. People are struggling when it comes to heating versus food. I've dealt when I speak with families and stuff like doing what I've done and things in the community. I know this for a fact. People just haven't got £60 more. So they're going to save for that one game but they really do want to play and they're looking forward to, whether it's Avowed, whether it's Assassin's Creed Shadows, whether they're waiting for Doom the Dark Ages, whatever it is. They can't just drop it like it's hot and just buy all these games. Some people just don't have the money. And that's the appeal for a lot of people for Xbox Game Pass. They got to play many games they never would have been able to get their hands on because their money isn't there. And there's no shame in that. It's tough. So people don't have the money like this anymore. Games are even more expensive to make. So single player games is not where it's at. If PlayStation keeps making single-player games, they're going to keep going under and make at a loss. That's why they're fighting so hard to make a live service game. Diablo 4, in a year, made like $1 billion. You want money like that? Call of Duty, within 3 days, I think, did it make over $1 billion or something like that? Like, big money. Elder Scrolls Online, every month, it makes like $15 million. When you see money like this, and what Halo Infinite brings in and stuff, operations and battle passes and stuff, when you see that, of course a developer wants that kind of money. Who's gonna say no to that kind of Fortnite money? Freaking Fortnite? Man, they got gold in their pockets, bro. How many V-Bucks? That's just the reality of the situation. Single player games is not gonna be reaching sales like that. People ain't got the money like that. The longevity isn't there. Too many people saying it's not worth $70. It's not gonna happen. Because Veilguard didn't reach that, I'm not going to say it's a fail. It did its job. It was well made. I have fun. It sold millions still. It just didn't reach that goal. So no, I'm not going to call it a flop. That's case Spider-Man 2 is a flop and a fail. So is Astrobot, so is Stellar Blade. So is the majority of PlayStation games from Foam Stars to Concord to Quantum Error to Forspoken to Brawl All-Stars to... Until Dawn remake, Silent Hill 2, they're all flops. Dragon's Dogma 2, Rise of Ronin, all of them are flops as well. Then they're all fails. Be consistent, be fair. I'm consistent, so yeah, that's another point. But I was watching this get out there, and I'm just gonna leave it there because it's already long enough as it is. I knew this was gonna go long. Now I want to get into I'll say actual criticism of the game, my actual criticisms. Oh, sorry, one more thing. When people saying the choices don't matter in the game, I disagree with that. If I select this one city over the other, this city gets damaged, it affects the street, it affects the locations and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, if those of you know my podcast style, I don't do scripts and stuff like that. But sometimes I'll forget something, then it comes back and I'll talk with it and stuff like that. There are people who are saying that Dragon Age the Veilguard lost is dark and grittiness and stuff like that, and I'm confused by that one, because inside the game, because I just remembered it because I was talking about, you pick one city over the other, dragon attacks and stuff like that. You go into Docktown, if you don't save the go to help with the dragon with Docktown, you literally see bodies in the streets, people piled up on wagons, you see bodies hanging, they got hanged and the body stamped there, insects are swarming around it, no plague marines, but insects are swarming around it. You got poor people, starving people in the street, injured people lying down. You go into Hossberg Wetlands, I think it's called, and you go to find a mission where you find this guy who's he's trying to help heal people with the blight. He's collecting stuff and trying to find this remedy for, I think, his wife. She's laying on the bed. The blight, it looks like it formed a claw. It pierces her eye socket and her mouth. She's laying there, and the blight expands and then grows, and they're looking like a fungus growth, and it encaps the house and everything. You're dealing with themes of slavery and liberation, and slavery is pretty much as dark as it gets. People living in slavery to this day, right? You've got dragons melting people, people getting bodied in groups. You got Gildanane picked up a Grey Warden. I'm about to say Grey Knight. That's Warhammer. Grey Warden, she rapid fire pierced him 12 times with tendrils and just yeeted his body to the side. The game seems pretty dark and gritty to me. You got people being water reserves being poisoned. You got assassins. You got blood magic. It's doom and I don't know. It seems pretty dark to me. Some people say it's lost its dark greenness. Again, if you're talking about the color palettes and stuff, how in Inquisition it was more dark green, gray, darker, more boring colors, then yeah, Veilguard is far more colorful and bright and all this kind of stuff. That's true. Fine. Again, I don't see it as a big deal. I prefer colorful things anyways. That's just a personal thing. I guess that's subjective. But if you talk about dark in terms of what happens on screen, what happens in the game, can long-time Dragon Age fans, can you guys give me your top 5 most dark, gritty things that happens in the Dragon Age series, because what happened in those previous games that I missed? Like, the way how so many people talk about, man, it lost its dark and grittiness, it used to be more brutal. I'm like, it can't be Warhammer 40,000 brutal. Like, what are we talking about here? We got hanging bodies in Veilguard and stuff like that. Like, what like in Inquisition, is there a mission where you're going for the street? Babies are literally being burnt in the streets, and Antom is putting lighter fluid in them, and you're hearing the screams of children? Are women getting chased down by the Antom, stabbed, the bellies are getting ripped open, they're getting raped in alleyways? Are men getting lined up and beheaded in the streets? Blood is pouring down, and you see the Antom castrating dudes, like where the balls used to be. It's just a hole, and they're leaking, and they're bleeding out to death in the streets. You can't save them. Does that happen in the previous Dragon Age games? So what is this dark and grittiness you're talking about then? I want to see a castration, Inquisition, or Dragon Age Origin, or don't talk to me about darkness, like dark and gritty and themes. Don't talk to me about that. That never made sense to me. So please, honestly, Dragon Age fans, give me your top 5 most dark, gritty, I don't know, even if it's a jigsaw trap, I want to play a game. All right, list it for me in the comments so I can see that for myself, because I see a lot of dark things and despair and stuff happening in Veilguard. Is that Warhammer 40,000 dark, where millions are just sacrificed? And hey, is that a single orc on the planet? Exterminatus! I know the memes and jokes, but but what kind of darkness are we talking about? Was Batman in Inquisition? I don't know. I don't freaking know. I don't know what to say to that. So please list to me the dark stuff, the stuff that I'm clearly just missing, because I'm clearly missing something here. I don't know, because some people throw out things, it almost becomes like buzzwords. They repeat the same and regurgitate the same things over and over again. I don't know if people honestly can answer this. And that's why the point I was talking about choices, the choices matter. I think they do matter, because this guy said, no, the choices don't matter in this game. And I said, yes, they do. And I was like, all right, tell me how they don't matter. And he just said to me, play the game again and make different choices. I said, I already got 70 hours in this game. I'm not going to play this again. Other games are coming out. I still got to finish Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl and stuff like that. I don't have the time. How about you tell me? And guess what? He doesn't get back to me. What is it with these people when they say, okay, tell me why this is bad writing. Prove it this is bad writing. They don't get back to me. They don't prove anything. They don't debunk my points. They don't. They just run away and just say, oh, you don't know, you're ignorant. That's not an answer. I actually do debates and stuff. Hour plus and everything. I do apologetics and polemics, debating religion and ideologies and staffs and stuff. I do debates. You will not hold account to me. You gotta just run and say, play the game again yourself and do different choices. How about you just tell me? I've seen choices happen. You struck the first wardens. He doesn't listen to reason. This person's hurt because of that. You go to this city. This affects this person's abilities. They'll no longer use the skill. You don't have the Miffles thing with you. It affects the kind of ending that you can get. There is a number of things. There are some choices. It's not gonna be like it's not gonna be like, oh, you can choose a side with Elgadon and be his top puppet, and now you have to fight and kill your allies. You gotta stab Nev and take on Tosh in a 1v1. No, that's not gonna happen. It's not that kind of game. They clearly just want to tell a story. I don't know what people wanted, man, but again, I just think people just demand answer too much. They just wanted to tell a story, and how you go about it on the story, that does matter. But I do think choices do matter. It doesn't have maybe the big game-changing choices that you was hoping. You side with Elgadon and Gillenane and all that kind of stuff. But no, there are choices, there are consequences, it does matter. But I will agree, no, I'll leave that to the feedback thing and stuff like that. I'm going to leave it out. This is already long. There's more I wanted to say. There's more I wanted to say for sure. But I have to leave that now. This episode is taking long. It's taking long. Alright, so let's now get into my criticisms of the game. My actual criticisms. And we'll start off with number 1. They did Tosh dirty. Tosh, they didn't handle her right. On paper, Tosh should be the most the most interesting character out of the crew. Tosh is it. She's Kunari. She's a dragon slayer, dragon fighter. She literally is like this teenage girl who boxed with dragons, bro. She's giving dragons left and right. She's like, with dragons, bro. She should be the coolest. But they did her so wrong. Instead, it's like 90%. It's like the main quest about her was the whole they, them, LGBT thing going on. It's like when people, the most interesting about them is apparently their pronouns. Oh, tell me something interesting about yourself. My pronouns are they, them. I'm just going to get up from the table and walk away. Don't tell me that. Come on. Tell me something about yourself. And don't make that your whole identity and your highlight about you. Tell me. Oh, you play basketball. You dunked on your friend. She fell to the ground. She hit her head and now she needs a bandage. Tell me that. Like 90% of Tosh or 80% was about that, which most people don't care about, don't want in their games, and it turns people off. I wish they spent more time focusing on Tosh, her fire breathing, being an Adari, the Fire King. More of her talking about the dragons. I learned about the dragons because of the text she leaves in the codex and the information. But I wanted more of that to come from her mouth as the Dragon Slayer expert herself. I wanted more focus on that. That was more interesting. They made that more of like the footnote of her. And the front page was the they, them business. It should have been the opposite. Because people in real life out there talking and having questions about they, them and stuff like that. That's real. Right? So it can be a factor of a person. That's fine. But don't let that be the whole thing about them. Tosh is way more interesting. She fights dragons. She should be the most interesting. So they did wrong with Tosh. And even in her final clash with the Fire King, they handled that poorly. With the fire. They should have, because they're both fire breathers. They're both Adari. They should have had it where they clash with breathing fire, like a Kamehameha, Superman's lasers. They're breathing fire, and because he's weakened because of the battle, his fires get weakened. Her fire envelopes him, and then she turns in, swinging double-handed strike with an axe, and knocks the guy down, beheads him, or whatever. That would have been a more epic clash and finish. They didn't. They handled that wrong. They handled Tosh wrong. I wanted to talk about what it means to be a berserker, and how you're used on the field as just a mindless combat unit and stuff like that. Like, they did not handle Tosh right. They didn't. It's as simple as that. They didn't handle Tosh right. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Tosh, I still like Tosh as a character, but they hold her. They could have done so much better with that. Next, boss variety. You were lacking. Yes, the dragon fights were intense and they were fun. I prefer fighting dragons in Veilguard than fighting dragons in Elden Ring. Like, it was epic, it was intense. But you had the setting to make more bosses, not just stronger variants of certain foes and stuff like that. Like, more bosses. You could have, like, made an blight-infected giant crab. I don't know. You could have thrown in more and gave more of a variety. I know it's Dragon Age. The Age of Dragons. Dragons are around. And we got lots of dragon fights. That's fine. But they should have put in more boss variety, man. That was definitely something that they didn't do so well at all. Like, that's another area you're gonna be lacking like points on that. I agree with some fans that the romance was weak. It was there, but it was weak. And it was like, romance got to this character. They have one scene before the final battle and final push and all that kind of stuff. And that was about it. And it was just like, the writing of when they're having a conversation about the romance stuff, that was fine. But like, wasn't as much. I don't expect them you be able to opt in to go on a date and take them to Arby's and eat a meat mountain. I didn't expect that, but yeah, the romance is weak. I feel like there's so much more you could have done with that. That was weak, BioWare. It just felt almost like the romance shouldn't even be there at that point. That's how I felt about that one. You know, for sure, that's how I felt about that one. it wasn't there. The other, which also links to the whole thing where they asked you, do you want to censor nudity? And it's like, I was like, there's nudity in this game in Dragon Age? This ain't God of War. Like, what? And I was like, nudity. I was like, okay, brace myself for whatever nudity comes. There was no nudity whatsoever. And I was like, okay, maybe when I unlocked the romance scene, I was like, okay, maybe it's here. I didn't see a dang thing. And I was like, why do you give me the option to like, terms of like a person's like clothes and stuff, you could like choose that like the undergarments. You can make your character topless, for example. You know, it's like, What was the point of all this if none of it was gonna matter? There was no nudity. There was no nudity at all. Not even the nudity of the kind that I don't want. I do not want to see Lucanus's butt, but there was no Lucanus anything anywhere. It was like, then what was the point? What was the point? Nah. I don't know what the point of that was. And the other thing is, this is the one, the character design, the character creation section, very deep, very detailed. I like it. You could create really some fascinating design. They did an amazing job with that, and other games can also learn from that. But they did one thing on purpose, and I mentioned it in I think the second video or first video. They purposely put a limit on your characters, the female character's cup size. The highest you can make your girl is like what? A low B cup? I'm like, BioWare, what the frick is this? What the frick is this, BioWare? They did that on purpose. I said, no, you can't have this very detailed, well done character customization where you're changing things from the ridge on the nose and this and cheekbones and the chin and all of this kind of stuff. But for your female character's breast, all you get is B cup. Are you freaking sitting there by? Well, that was such a stupid move. That was such a stupid move. Let players create that character the way they want to make it. The way they want to make it. Because if you can go, you can change the size of your nose, the shape of your nose, the ridge here, the lift there, the dent there, the wideness there, and all this kind of stuff, then I want to see that kind of details even for the breasts as well. Choose the shape of the breast. Are you gonna have one bigger than the other? Because the way the heart is and stuff like that. Is it lifted up? Is it down? Does it look like plastic surgery, like fake breast? Or does it look like it's natural? You can choose the amount of elasticity, the sagness to it. You could have done all those things. And if you look online, I think it's saying the average cup size, I think in America, just average, it said was a D. And I think the average for the UK, I think it was a C. But your maximum in the game was a B. You put it below the average. What the heck? No, by the way, you lost marks for that. That was unnecessary. And for the butt as well. My character is black, and she got the standard issue, one step above SpongeBob looking booty. No! Put the curves in there. Sucker, learn from the first Descendant of Stellar Blade or something. That was stupid. that was stupid. Oh my gosh, that was stupid. But yeah, I mean, other from that, I don't really have any real complaints. I do wish that we could have talked more with Varric. I know the truth about Varric and stuff like that. I wish we could have talked more with Varric. I wish we could have talked more also with Solus. I understand with Solus why it was done that way. But at least with Varric, I really wish we could have engaged more with him. Talking with him and stuff like that. Just more of that. That would have been better. I think that's it, because Varric is a beloved character. He's known, and you should have done that also for the fans. More interaction and talking, even with Varric. Even if he's just there and we know the state of what Varric is in, and he's here for our character, he could have played more of that mentor role. I didn't feel as much of that mentor role going on there. I mean, I'll put it in there. Other than that, I don't really have as much negatives of the game. I just had a great time through and through. And just like that scene you see online of King from One Punch Man. King, the strongest man in the world. He has to stand on that high ledge, and the Monster Association is down below him, all looking at him, looking ready for a fight, but no one's making the first move. And King's just standing there, arms folded, looking like a boss. That's how I feel, because I've been in these situations before where the majority will be against me. But I'm very confident and I know I'm right. And these people will throw all kinds of things at me, whether it's insults or whatever. I've been called things, even racial slurs. But they don't defeat my arguments and my points. Few people want to get into the call and we have a talk about it, like I did with Assassin's Creed Shadows and stuff like that. And that's nice. I mean, one of the times this happened when I was I entered this Dragon Ball Z group. And we were talking about the whole Goku versus Superman thing. And I knew, like anyone else who does easy, simple study, learned Superman was just way above Goku in every way. It's not even close. They're not even worthy of fighting each other. It's an insult to Superman. Superman will body him and so many. It's too easy, right? All these Dragon Ball fans came at me. No, It's Goku. Here's why. He's Outerversal, Xenoversal, Hyper Xenoversal, Omnidirectional Versal, something Versal, Yamama Versal, all these Versals and all this nonsense, which they're just conflicting sources, by the way, and it doesn't line up with the series. And, and they all coming at me, and I was like the one guy standing against this raging army, and I stood my ground. And guess I'm right. I was right. Superman's above Goku. It's not even close. I was right. And I've been in that situation multiple times. I know with the previous videos, you should see one of the other videos. I got like 8 likes, but like 36 plus dislikes. Like, they just saw the video. He likes Dragon Age. Dislike. And I'm not talking for those. I'm not interested in talking with those idiots. I want to talk with sensible people with intelligence, right? I might having a nice discussion. I had a few nice discussions with people, but most of it's insulting, condescending, disrespecting me, and I'll just get you up out of here. I don't give a frick, right? I'm not like those loser streamers who just take everything. No, thank you. I would talk to people respect, right? I'm going to stand on this business. I stand on this. Dragon Age the Veilguard is an amazing game. I loved so much about it. I was thinking about it. I just liked how that scene where you're charging in Docktown, the Venator is there, and you're working with like people, and you're deciding which one of your companions is going to go with this group to handle this. It increases their chances of success, especially if they're a hero of the Veilguard. And I got everyone to hero of the Veilguard. I completed everybody's side quests and missions and stuff like that. Got over their traumas and issues and that. And it was just like, you was like a war general. You put the piece here. You send Lucanus with this group. You send Emmerich with this group. You send Tasha with this group. And I watched how the cutscene played out. Such clean cutscenes, very good. And you saw the action and what happened with Harding and Gillenane and how Elgadon snatched up and took Nev. And I was like, well, because at that point I was fed up with Nev. And I was like, oh, they got Nev. Oh, well, let's continue the adventure. If we see her, we see her. Like, I was not in a hurry to get Nev, but she's part of the crew, so I would have saved Nev, of course. But it was like, it wasn't Balara. If you took Balara now, Elgadon, I would have heated up on your. Ooh, I would have came straight for you, bro. But yeah, and it was just like that felt like a war room, a decision, and seeing how your decision decided how it affected here and stuff. It was just so cool, and I got the choice to pay respects to the dead in that room. A film that was like the morgue for the people who have fallen, and it did such an amazing job. And you know what? I will say this: the final battle, where I had to make that push in Docktown and Minrathas against the Venatori, and Elgadon was there and stuff like that. That was done better than God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok, one of its biggest weaknesses in L's was the ending where you actually get Ragnarok and storm against the walls and try to take over. That was rushed, short, and that deducted some marks in my opinion. Some other people said the same thing as well. It's not just me. God of War Ragnarok's ending was sold. They didn't do it right. Short, rushed, and it's like, what did you need Ragnarok for in the first place? It was more of a hindrance than anything else. But whatever, right? Not Elden Ring. Dear gosh, where am I going with this? Dragon Age the Veilguard did the ending so much better. You've got to face Elgadon, but you didn't get to kill her. You only got to beat the Archdemon. Then there's more stuff going on. Then you get to the point where you face them again. They finally face a Gillenane. You take down Gillenane, but it's not over yet. Then you gotta go deal with Elgadon. And after this battle in between, it wasn't some rushed ending, the final storm. We got there, we beat the gods. Woohoo! Teabagging on the bodies. Everybody get drunk. That didn't happen. It was steps and phases to it. You didn't just go straight to the main man himself, Odin. In this case, Elgadon. It was slower. It felt like an actual struggle. About it, you just made one step closer. It still looks hopeless. You find out, but even Solus is not a match for him. I knew we needed Solus. I was like, we can't be boxing with Gillenane and Elgadon. I was like, we don't have the firepower. I said, we need Solus in this. And then I saw Solus and his betrayal, and he got out there, and I was like, we see Solus using his power, turning into wolf. Epic! Epic! I was like, we need this man. Solus is power. We need him. He's the strongest we've got. You know, it was just hyped, and I recorded it, so I'm going to put that into a video. I look at all of this, from the cutscenes, the epic action, the storytelling, Solus's regret and sorrow, and how that's heart-touching, animations, the visuals, the graphics, the environments. There's so many different armors that you could pick. Somebody sat down, a team sat down, and they did concept art and designed these armor pieces. You can't say work didn't go into this game. So much heart went into this. A lot of work. So much work. And they really thought some things through and designed choices for the players so that everyone can play and increase difficulty if it's too easy for you. And it's just, the accessibility options is there. I can see why this game got nominated by DICE for RPG of the Year and stuff like that. You know, don't give me that bull crap. It's not an RPG, it's an ARPG. Okay, so what are the letters after the A? RPG, right? Shut up. Whether it's RPG, whether it's ARPG, MMORPG, it's an RPG. Deal with it. And once again, don't pull that crap about I don't know what a good RPG is. Look at my channel. That's a fraction, smallest fraction of all the different games I play. I play many RPGs of different style, different type. From RPGs, ARPGs, MMORPGs. Don't play with me. I know what a good RPG is. This game's amazing. I truly enjoyed it. It was such a blast. I want to see what comes next. I know about the free circles. You collect those codexes, and that voice keeps speaking like, you'll know about us soon. And at the end, the voice talk about the wolf defanged, the sun blotted out, the storm quelled. Now it's our time. And it's like, ooh, there's more to come. I want to see it. So I had a blast, guys. You're not going to convince me it's a bad game. It's definitely not 3 out of 10 like the idiot Angry Joe said and stuff like that. It's not. It's amazing. And this is not me trying to convince anyone to buy a game, nothing like that. I told you, times are tough and bills and rent is more important. Get Game Pass instead. But I'm just saying, I wanted to talk about this game, speak about it. I know the hard work went into it. I had a blast. I enjoyed it. I beat the game like people told me to do and make a video. I did. Here it is. It's a blast. It's amazing. I loved it. I do want to play it again, but Big Bang is coming up. Avowed is coming up. That's going to be my next amazing adventure, big magical adventure. I'm diving into Avowed. I don't have time. This was amazing. The fight, it's just so much about it. It's just so good. I can literally make this 4 hours if I was to talk into detail about all the different stuff that is happening there. I didn't talk about the characters' individual quests and Versailles stuff going on. Lucanus being the first talent. I want to know more about the talents. If Lucanus is the first talent, Taya is the 7th talent, and Veilguard is the 7th talent. I wanted to know more about the talents and then it's even crows. Like this, the lore, the reading. Go into the glossary and see how much is involved in the combat. And you'll see that Cold Carnage and them are wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. Sorry guys, I really enjoyed this game. It's an amazing game. It's easily a good game. And I'll say 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 is amazing. Nobody, if your child came home from school or you did an exam and you got 9 out of 10, 90 out of 100, that's an A star grade. That's an A star. Are you going to say that's bad? Heck no. No. Not accepting that. But I do want to hear people's opinions and stuff like that. Like I said, keep it polite. Keep it civil. I'm a person as well. Treat me with respect, man. I've had respectful conversations with people who are respectful, and I got to hear the input. I want to hear your input. I want to hear about your thoughts about the points that I made, you know, and stuff like that. I know it's a long video. You treat it like a podcast where you're just listening if you want to. There will be things on screen, but yeah, that's just my thoughts. I don't have no script or anything. That's just my honest thoughts talking to y'all and stuff like that, and that's just how I felt about the game. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's 9 out of 10. It does deserve a 10 out of 10, but it did some things on purpose. So I'll deduct some marks because of that. But it does deserve a 10 out of 10. I'm not mad at anyone saying 10 out of 10. I'm not mad at people saying 8 out of 10. I think that's too low. I've been giving it a 9 on a good day. Maybe with some rum, I'll give it a 9.5. But it's a 9. And I'll so badly play it again. I'm so glad I tried it. This game has made me interested in Dragon Age. The previous ones never did. Never cared about it. I truly think this is the best of all the Dragon Age games. It is amazing. It's a blast. Gosh, bro, look at me. Can't even finish this properly now. I'm going to leave it there. But I do want to hear from y'all in the comments and what your thoughts are and stuff like that. Any of the points I made, any of them. Let's keep it respectful. I'd love to hear from y'all. Love y'all. Have an awesome day. Thank you for listening. If you actually listened to this whole 1+ hour thing going on, huge respects to you. And that's easy for me. I've listened to like 2-hour debates and stuff like that online and stuff like that. So it's easy for me. For average people, no, I understand. Have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you for hearing me out. And have a good day. And regardless of what's going on, make sure to do the Earthwalk. And I'll see you guys around.